medical sensei, and it not only tracks, where to put items, it tracks what the most efficient routes are for the pickers to go through these shelves in the shortest amount of time.
Like, imagine you sit down and order 14 products at one time. What the computer does is it will farm that order out to 14 different pickers in different parts of the warehouse. And then it will coordinate the timing so that each picker is grabbing the item, putting it on a conveyor belt in a certain order so that all the products arrive to the same box at the same moment. It'll make sure that box is just big enough but not too big. It figures out when to get those boxes on trucks and when those trucks should leave. And eventually, if you believe Jeff Bezos, the sensei will send out fleets of tiny helicopter drones that will deliver your packages to your doorstep at lightning speed, no humans involved. So yeah, for the moment, most of the time saving they're going to get is from making the human pickers pick faster. Because if you think about it, once the packages get on trucks,
the truckers are still going to have to follow the speed limit. But there's no OSHA laws about how fast you can make people work inside the warehouse.
And the way you make those people fast, at least in the warehouse Gabriel worked in, is by treating them like drones.
For example, you're digging through the bin and you see lots of other stuff, but not the thing that you're looking for. So these scanners assume you're an idiot and you just aren't seeing it. Like, you can't swear to the scanner that it's really not there. So you have to scan every item in the bin to prove that it's not there.
Really?
So the one time this happened to me, it happened to me a bunch of times, but one of the times it was like 30 individually wrapped batteries in this bin. And so I have to scan every single one. Beep, 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 before my scanner will let me go on. But I'm not given extra time to do that. And my scanner the whole time is like 3, 2, 1, 0. Now it's counting the seconds that you're late. 3, 4.
does it go into the red or something?
Yeah, so you know exactly how late you are, and you're trying to scan your stupid olive oil mister.
Gabriel says within the first few hours of his first shift, a supervisor walked up to him, said,
"You're only making 48% of your goal because you're supposed to be picking something like 170 items per hour."
170 things an hour?
Yes.
Wow.
It was the first time in my life, because I'm an overachieving nerd from the Midwest. I went to Catholic school, First time in my life, somebody came up to me and was like, "You're doing a really bad job."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Me?"
By the third day, he says, he's doing a little better.
Yeah, it was like 50%. 50% of my goal. I asked my supervisor at one point, "Can I pee just like in the middle of the day?" And he was like, "Of course, this isn't China, but it's going to hurt your numbers."
So he thought, screw it.
You know what? I'm not going to pee. I'm going to hold it
Till lunch.
The minimum shift is 10 and a half hours. And in that 10 and a half hours, you have 29 minutes and 59 seconds for lunch.
They tell
If
you
it's
that?
30
not,
minutes.
Not 30 minutes?
They told us that. If it's 30 minutes and 1 second, you get docked points. And if you get docked enough points, you get fired.
Especially if you're new.
They told me when I got hired at the temporary staffing agency, they had videos about it. They had people walking around telling you cannot miss any time or be 1 minute late at any point during your first week of orientation. And so to sort of illustrate this point,
He says that during his orientation,
the lady leading our training says, "Take Brian.
She points to a guy in the back of the room.
Brian used to work here, and then his girlfriend had a baby, so he missed a day, and he was fired because it doesn't matter if you have doctor's notes or baby pictures or whatever it is. There are no exceptions to this rule." And so Brian had to go back to the temporary staffing agency, go back through their application process, get hired by them, clear a new drug test, and go back through the training that he had mostly, already done. And now he's sitting in this group with us, and the lady's like, "Welcome back, Brian. Everybody don't end up like Brian."
so Gabriel says, when you finally make it to lunch, you finally pee.
You just shovel food into your face while you watch your watch, and occasionally in between chewing,
People talk.
and everybody is asking each other, "Why are you here?" Which is like, in prison. And we actually fact checked this because I was like, do people in prison really always ask each other what they're in for?
Right, or
is that just in movies?
Yeah.
And we fact checked it, and I asked this guy who'd been in federal prison. He was like, it's the only conversation people are having.
Gabriel remembers the people at his table were like,
"I got laid off. I used to be an accountant. I used to be a store manager. I used to work in a restaurant."
All over the place.
Everybody was something else in another life.
Gabriel says on one of his last days, he came back from work.
Yeah, I came home from work, took a bath, trying to sort of soak out some of the soreness so that I would be prepared and ready to wake up again and do it all over and make my numbers, which I, was still failing to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I was Skyping with one of my friends, and he was like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "Okay, they fired this guy because he had a baby, and people are terrible." And yeah, I cried about it a little bit. I hadn't realized, really, how mean the system was. Not just that it was tiring, and not just that it hurt your body, but that it was mean in every way, at every turn that it possibly could be. It kind of punched me in the face a little bit.
Hello.
Not too long after I talked to Gabriel, I went home from the holidays, which just happens to be near one of the biggest Amazon warehouses on the East Coast.
Just outside Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And we should say again that Gabriel did not necessarily work at an Amazon warehouse. But talking to him had gotten me curious.
This is a warehouse that in July of 2011 made some really big headlines because the temperatures inside the warehouse had gotten so hot that people had started to collapse from heat stroke. And rather than put in air conditioning or send people home, the warehouse instead just had local paramedics wait outside and cart people away. And once the news broke, Amazon did install air conditioners, but I was curious to see if things had changed. And based on the people that I met,
You work here?
like before I got kicked out,
I'm a reporter. I'm just.
it's kind of hard to tell.
What do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a picker.
You're a picker?
This woman who I met in the parking lot told me that she'd been working as a picker for about a month.
You describe what the work is like?
Well, it's easy for me. Everybody has their own opinion, but I have lost a lot of weight. I like it.
And when I went into the lobby of the building,
It's fantastic. And then
I met this guy who told me he was the warehouse DJ. That during the holiday rush, the company would move him around to different departments depending on who needed motivation.
Oh,
Yeah.
like you DJ?
These people take care of their people here.
Yeah?
I did karaoke shows. We did dance contests.
Wait, like while people were at work?
Yeah, they're dancing in place. I do the Cupid shuffle or do something crazy like the chicken dance. Doing stuff like that.
That sounds awesome. We did not have a DJ or a karaoke contest, which I would have won, for the record. I like karaoke more than almost anyone, but